Good morning to you. Welcome. This is the front page review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. Good morning. Good morning. Good. It is Monday, the 29th of July, 2024. Good morning once again, and welcome to the show. Apologies for starting the show behind schedule. The rain hampered movements this morning, but we're here, and definitely we're going to be talking about the news. How did your weekend go? I hope you rested properly, because it's going to be another dramatic week that we are in for at the moment. I went to the market this weekend, and what I saw was quite disheartening. I mean, I've been going to the market since, but it's been a bit it's been a bit since I went to the market, probably 2, 3 weeks since I went to the market, and it left me deeply changed. I mean, I've been reflecting on the stark difference between how things are and how they should be. What kind of life are people living? Are people supposed to live well? How is the minimum wage expected to suffice when it's all spent on merely trying to survive instead of truly living? Parents hustle day and night, but for what? Basic necessities that have become luxuries for which we are expected to be grateful. At this point, renewed hope feels like nothing more than an empty slogan. This is what a lot of Nigerians have been saying. We might as well drop the renewed and cling only to hope. The president, on assuming office, said, "Let the poor breathe." But at the moment, the cost of living is suffocating the living. People are planning protests here and there, yet it seems as though the government isn't bothered. Well, we'll get into the headlines this morning just so you can get a feel of what exactly is happening around the country. I'll brush real quick over it so that we can get some of the voices in the news. Already from Punch newspaper, the US and the UK, Canada have issued security alerts and traders fear looting. The United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada have raised the alarm over the likelihood of violence during the planned August 1st #End Bad Governance protest in the country. The three countries, in separate travel alerts, cautioned their nationals in Nigeria to avoid getting caught up in a confrontation that might occur between security agencies and protesters, citing past incidences. The advisories come as apprehensive market leaders in Abuja, Sokoto, Kano, Katsina, Ogun, Osun, Zamfara State, Gombe, other parts of the country requested strong security around markets during the rallies. Also, in preparation for the demonstration, the police authorities have recalled all personnel on non-essential duties. A memo dated July 25th and signed by the CSP Okon Moses directed the withdrawal of riot policemen ahead of the protest. The message, titled "Notification of Temporary Withdrawal of Personnel for National Assignment," it read, "In view of the planned nationwide protest, it becomes imperative to temporarily withdraw some of the personnel attached to you in order to muster sufficient officers to dominate the public space. This is part of the proactive necessary measures to enhance the operational capability of the squadron, and your understanding in the above regard is highly solicited." The Force Police spokesperson, Muyiwa Dejobi, told newsmen that the personnel withdrawal was in line with the IGP's directive. It was done to bolster the strength of the police, adding that the men would be deployed to fortify banks and other critical national assets. Well, still in line with the protests, there were lots of queues over the weekend, scarcity in some parts of the country. NNPC have said that the tightness in fuel supply and distribution was caused by a hitch in the discharge operations of a couple of vessels. Many depots for premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, are currently dry, leading to fuel scarcity and attendant queues in Lagos, Ogun, parts of Abuja, Niger, and some other states across the country. Newsmen have reported that black marketers have taken advantage of the situation, selling as high as 1,300 naira per litre Abuja. The long queue started building up at fuel stations in Abuja and Lagos on Friday and have persisted up until now. The NNPCL, in a statement, said they wish to state that the tightness in fuel supply and distribution witnessed in some parts of the country is as a result of a hitch in the discharge operations of a couple of vessels. Well, whenever an of 400 billion naira with severe consequences for the country and its citizens. The director, CEO of CPPE, Dr. Muda Yusuf, disclosed this in a statement yesterday. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in last year's general elections, Peter Obi, has thrown his weight behind the planned nationwide protest over the current economic hardship. Some youths are planning a nationwide protest between August 1st and August 15th against the rising cost of living and economic hardship. Same with Ogun State Governor Dakwa Abiodun on Sunday, said frustrated politicians are behind the End Bad Governance protest, which is currently gaining traction nationwide. He has asked youths to shun the protest and engage the government constructively with a view to finding solutions to the economic hardship. We'll watch and see how all that drama plays out. Meanwhile, in Borno State, Boko Haram fighters raid Borno police station, gun down officers, and loot armory. Suspected Boko Haram terrorists have attacked Jakana police station in Konduga local government area of Borno State, killing a policeman and a woman while carting away arms and ammunition. According to security sources, the insurgents also set ablaze 2 patrol vehicles and a motorcycle. One of the vehicles belonged to the police and the other for the members of Civil Joint Task Force, a source has said. Chairman of the Konduga local government area, Honorable Abbas Ali Abari, confirmed the attack to journalists, promising to provide details as soon as he gets them. Efforts to speak with the police public relations officer, Borno State Command, Nahun Kenneth, failed as he did not respond to phone calls or texts concerning this particular headline. Other headlines, still looking at the police over the course of the weekend asked protesters to submit their names, contact details. This is what the IGP has told protesters. Ahead of the planned nationwide protest slated to start August 1st, police authorities are requesting the details of the demonstrators. While briefing journalists in Abuja on Friday, the IGP, Kaede Egbetokun, specifically asked all groups planning to participate in the demonstration to submit their details to the commissioners of police in their respective states. The reason he gave was that the protest was peaceful. We acknowledge the constitutional rights of Nigerian citizens to peaceful assembly and protest. However, in the interest of public safety and order, we urge all groups planning to protest to provide necessary details to the commissioner of police in the state where the protest is intended to take place. This is to facilitate a successful incident-free protest, and they should please provide the following information. And this is according to the IGP. He says name and contact details of the protest leaders and their organizers in those states. Still looking at the headlines, there was a face-off between Wike and some protest campaigners. Enrique said he has not officially received a request for the protesters to use Eagle Square for the protest campaign. Meanwhile, activists said hunger among hopeless Nigerians is a major motivation for the nationwide rallies billed for August 1st. One of the arrowheads of the planned nationwide protest against economic hardship says the Eagle Square in Abuja is a public property and the minister of the FCT has no choice than to allow hungry Nigerian youth demonstrate their displeasure on the facility. We'll watch and see how that plays out. Meanwhile, Peter Obi has his own issues. He's been accused of lacking leadership. According to Kenneth Okonkwo, you remember during the 2023 elections, he had initial optimism following the 2023 elections, saying that many Nigerians, including himself, had high hopes for Peter Obi. But looking at the issue within the Labour Party, that Peter Obi did not do enough to build the party and solve the party's leadership crisis. We'll watch and see how all that drama plays out. Meanwhile, there was a great loss. Southern governors are mourning Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, representing Anambra South Senatorial District. He died in London on Saturday. The chairman of the Southern Governors Forum and governor of Ogun State, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, has described the death of Senator Ifeanyi Uba as shocking and a great loss to the country. Governor Dakwa Abiodun, in a condolence message to the people and government of Anambra State, said the lawmaker's demise, coming just a few hours after that of the President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Chief Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu, has left a great void that will be difficult to fill. Let's check out some of the voices in the news right about now. In the news today, there's a lot that needs to be said concerning Peter Obi backing the planned nationwide protest. Let's take a listen.
Issue of protest within the Nigerian constitution. Protest within the Nigerian constitution. For those who are protesting is to do so within the law and in a civil manner that allows us of the nation to show that we live within the law. You know, everybody knows the things that are difficult. I always say, when they talk about sponsors of the protest, I say the sponsors are very simple. It's hunger. It's hopelessness among the youths. So we all have to listen to what Nigerians are going through. And I thank our governor for doing so. It is critical and important. Okay. Well, what I said to security agencies is that we will let them ensure that they manage the situation, again, within the law. You know, we should not try to be overbearing. It should be something that we do within the law. There's nothing wrong. Protest is allowed everywhere globally. And I also say people protest in my house. And it's for us to listen to those who are protesting. Why are they protesting? Engage them. That's what governance is all about. You talk with them. There's nothing wrong in that.
All right, so well, that was the voice of Peter Obi talking about nothing being wrong with protests. Meanwhile, there was a conversation yesterday. There was a conversation. INEC chairman, okay, let me not take that. The IGP said foreign mercenaries are involved in the planned protest. Foreign mercenaries are involved in the planned protest, says the IGP. Let's take a listen.
Critical juncture. Fearing enemies of our country may be manipulating the process. We confirm their fears are genuine, as we have credible intelligence on foreign mercenaries' involvement in this planned protest. The Nigerian police urge all Nigerians to exercise caution and think twice before joining any protest group. While we alert citizens to the sinister motives of certain groups planning to wreak havoc, it has become clear that even a peaceful protest at this time may be ill-timed, and private property or looting of private businesses. We acknowledge the constitutional right of Nigerian citizens to peaceful assembly and protest. However, in the interest of public safety and order, we urge all stakeholders to facilitate a successful and incident-free protest. They should play the points. 2. Expected duration of the protest. 3. Names and contact details of protest leaders and organizers. 4. Measures to prevent hijacking by criminal elements, including key identifiers for possible ISIS personnel and resources to ensure public safety.
Well, that was the voice of the IGP letting protesters know that they should let the police be aware of the protest routes, the organizers of the protest, those who are going to be taking part in the protest, contact details as well, the names and the contact details of these individuals. We'll watch and see if the protesters will go ahead and let the government know their plans so far. Meanwhile, On a one-on-one interview with the Interior Minister, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, he has said the president is working hard. Economy is not built overnight. What they see today is an accumulated mismanagement over the last 160 years. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
People are hungry in this country. The people are hungry, yes, of course. And there is a mass poverty in this country.
Mass poverty?
Yes.
Well, poverty is a relative word.
Minister, let me give you the statistics. About 135 million Nigerians are multidimensionally poor, and poverty in several areas of their life.
What is the
just for a moment, Minister. And it's also a given statistics that over 70 million or about 80 million Nigerians cannot even afford to feed themselves with about $1 per day. And these are statistics staring us in the face. There are a lot of people who are unemployed, and the fact that what they end before President Bola Tinubu got into office, that has been messed up 1 year later. And the indices, if you want me to read it out, I'll read it out and we'll put it on the screen. That if you are saying that the president has capacity, how do you convince Nigerians that the president that they voted for, all the indices are in the negative, economically speaking? The price of commodities have gone south. Things have skyrocketed. Inflation rate has moved over 10 digits. Headline inflation moved over 10 digits. Unemployment rate, and you can go on and on. All of the indices are in the negative. How do you convince, sincerely, Honorable Minister, Nigerians who are watching tonight to tell them that this government really has the capacity to meet their demands and their yearnings?
Okay, let me tell you this. I'm happy you read your statistics, even though you didn't tell me the source of your statistics.
No, it's MBS.
No. Hold on, Shem. But I want to tell you this. Economy, it's not built overnight. It's easier for things to be destroyed than to be built. The fact remains, what you see today is an accumulated mismanagement over the last 100, 60, 40, 30, 20 years.
But the decline in the last 1 year is escalating badly.
Because there are key fundamental decisions that must be taken. Let me tell you, you can't go through surgery at that point and not expect a level of pain. But what happens after the operation? What happens after the surgery? I tell you this as an individual. I personally believe Nigeria is going through a surgical process. That is the truth. And for a government that is barely a year old, with a cabinet that is 11 months old, and all of a sudden, you're judging 11 months of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's cabinet, 12 months or 13 months of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidency over a scenario of 60-something years. Let me tell you, if refineries, had been fixed before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you as a member of the cabinet.
All right. Well, that was the voice of the Interior Minister, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo. Already, Nigerians are out there protesting. There was a one-man protest with Flag Boy. If you recall, I think it was last 2 weeks or so, I talked about the fact that he was arrested for going on a one-man protest saying Hunger Day. He had a flag saying Hunger Day. And right now, yesterday and day before yesterday, he and some other Nigerians have embarked upon a single protest or display, as I should call it, letting Nigerians know that they have started the protest in their own way. It's really, really interesting seeing all this drama play out. We'll be reaching out to Rufai Oseni in just a moment, but there was a conversation had earlier concerning, I think maybe we'll have this with Mr. Larry come 8 o'clock. But let me just take this conversation. Abuja residents shock Wike with their response, saying that they're hungry as FCT minister begged Nigerians not to protest.
Stop going too far now. Calm down. You said you're going to If you time with the talk. Yes, now. The hunger on this will be today. Watch now. Calm down. You know, say, see the wait, I tell you. I never argue with her at all. So anything when I go, I never fall. I know the place where they pass through. Now our own sacrifice what they make for things to get better. So I tell them and say, if this government no go do well, you no go see me here. You no go see me. Because I know say the person will be president. Me I know. Now I make I take this appointment. So what I tell them say, just look at this small patient. After all, I don't lose hope before. So nothing will happen this way when they will do it. But like what they do, which means hope they come back. And I got sure I said this hunger, it will reduce very soon.
Some of the comments on social media said hunger, what do they call it? The hope go come back. Person can respond, say the hunger the trek come, I be waiting. Anyway, do let me know your thoughts. By the way, we're live on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. We're live on YouTube. Join us, Voice of the People Abuja. Then you can also let us know what you think about any of our headlines this morning at 0808 312 8618 0808 312 8618 is the number to call to be a part of our conversation this morning. Right about now, I'll be reaching out to Rufai to get his 2 cents on some of our trending issues this morning. Already we went through some of them, letting you know that the police asked for contact details of the protesters. They also said it was standard procedure to ensure that the planners of the protest be known for faceless groups not to jeopardize the peace of the country. He also talked about the fact that such details is standard procedure to ensure safety of all participants and prevent any unlawful activity. This is what the IGP said yesterday. Meanwhile, we also have Nigerians telling the FCT minister that there is no going back on using the Eagle Square for protests. Also, in the news, we had Borno State, a police station in Borno State has been raided by local government area of Borno State, killing a policeman and a woman while carting away with arms and ammunition. See, there are still issues pending. Apart from the hunger, there's still issues of security that are pending in the country that the president hasn't really fully looked at the moment. And Nigerians are asking, in the midst of all of this drama, what else are Nigerians supposed to expect? Ogun State governor has been saying that the frustrated politicians are behind this particular protest. Other people have been saying whatever they want to say at the moment. But the question is, will it be peaceful? Is it possible to get hijacked? Because there's so many interests, vested interests in this protest, whether we like it or not. Federal government has a vested interest. Nigerians have a vested interest. Other politicians as well have vested interests. Unscrupulous elements, non-state actors have vested interests as well. So you have to be very, very careful because you don't know who could be sending whom into the protest. All right. Good morning, Mr. Rufai. Because of the weekend, we had the police requesting for contact details of the protesters. What do you think about this?
For what now?
They say it's standard procedure.
Disrupted police. Why has police never arrested protesters? Why has police never arrested any one of them? Please, let's inform the people that there's a court judgment to that effect. That Femi Falana obtained from the Supreme Court that you don't need police permission for deeds. It was even the former President Buhari that took the police and government to court after they went to do a rally and it was disrupted, a protest in Kano there, and it was disrupted, and they got their court judgments. They should please follow the court judgment. Why do you need their details? Why do you need their details? Is that the details of all the terrorists and all the kidnappers police should go and find out and apprehend? Is that their work that you have to do? Is that the protection of life and property they have to do? Yes, let's move on from narratives like that, Jerry.
Right.
They should keep running. They should keep making Nigeria feel like it's a police state.
Still on this issue of protests, right? We have the US, UK, Canada issuing security alerts, and traders are fearing looting as well. I mean, I don't know what the propensity for violence is in this particular situation, but we have seen protests being hijacked by whatever vested interests, whether it's from whomever.
That is why the more reason the security forces should never make that happen. Should ensure they provide security for the people and don't make vested interests hijack it. That's just it. But most of the time, you heard what Falana said. And some of these so-called vested interests are elements that represent the state sometimes, like it happened in NSAS. So is you trying to use violence to quell protests that what is it called? Didn't people sell their wares when they were doing the protest in what is it called in Ojota Park in 2012? So let's stop all of this. Let's stop all of this. Stop using violence everywhere.
Mr. Rufai, some Nigerians, even on social media, some Nigerians, even on social media, they've talked about replicating what happened in Kenya with this particular protest, especially as regards their National Assembly, where they had people breaking in there and just destroying the building and all that. I mean, we've seen it before, especially during NSAS, where people vandalized. We saw it during NSAS where people vandalized properties. I mean, that was just after we saw the protest getting violent. Hello.
Like to make a lot of false equivalents. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Jesse, can you hear me? People like to make a lot of false equivalents. I've noticed in this country, and they like to lie. What happened in Kenya was not just a one-off protest. It was a build-up. If you remember, late last year into early this year, they had a protest that was led by the opposition Raila Odinga that disrupted a lot of things. So there had been a build-up. And the state did not manage it effectively. Even in that protest, there was a lot of skirmish. So it didn't just happen overnight. It was a build-up. And that's why we should stop making false equivalents. We should stop making false equivalents. And the violence that erupted, the president takes full responsibility because he didn't do what is right. He didn't do what is right. He didn't engage the people. It was after the president started and he did not engage the people. And even to date, he's not still doing what is right. He's still packing all sorts of criminals in his cabinet in Kenya. So, Ruto's Palava is different. Here, people are saying they are hungry. And there's a lot of difference. You are talking about protests in Kenya. Do you know that food inflation in Kenya is just less than 7-8%? Here, food inflation is how many percent? Over 40%. It's a fundamental right to be able to protest. JB Bayo Onanuga in his statement today said it was even taunting Twitter a bit to come out and lead protest because President Tinubu led protest. So President Tinubu led protest too in this country. So let's stop all of that, please.
All right.
Let people carry their placards and protest according to the constitution of the land. If you are trying to deny them the role of protest, that means you are violating the constitution. That means you are violating the constitution.
All right. I think in the middle of all these protests, we're just calling on Nigerians themselves to not be used as elements of disruption in all of this. I mean, we talk about it during elections that Nigerians should not sell the next 4 years. We talk about it, but people still turn deaf ears to that. Hopefully, Nigerians will listen to this. Even if you want to go ahead to protest, make sure that you are not used as an element of violence during this protest. Make sure that you are. Yes.
Keep the peace. And please, the state too should ensure safety and security. Be aware, please.
All right, let's move on to another headline. Mr. Rufai, we're seeing fuel queues once again. Some people, they
was discharge issues now. I don't think it's going to be fear of the protest. Before NFBC has been having fuel queues. It's them that is going to pay their busy and ensure that we have fuel. Their busy that the Reuters talked about, over 5 billion. They go and pay their busy and get more product in. So we are seeing all this disruption here and there. But then nothing they do. I don't think it's because of the protest. Everything now is because of the protest. If Gary increase in the market now, they say it's because of protests.
all right. We'll watch and see how that plays out because at this point, I don't think we can add full queues to the situation in the country at this point.
There are queues everywhere now. It's not a case of we don't think we can add. It's already added to it now. There are queues everywhere.
Might this be a way to frustrate Nigerians just so they don't come out?
I don't know.
All right. Looking at another issue of security, because while we're talking about hunger, we can't take out security from it. But some suspected Boko Haram terrorists attacked a police station in Borno State. They killed a policeman and a woman, carting away with arms and ammunition, patrol vehicles, and a motorcycle as well. We're still seeing Boko Haram, elements of Boko Haram still in operation at this point. I don't know where we have our priorities at this point, but what do you make of this?
So for the police that were asking for protesters' name, I want the police to go and also help us apprehend those Boko Haram elements that are seizing things. There was a story about some people found in kidnapping and banditry. I think ex-lawmaker and things like that, and local government executive was front page of Daily Trust. Police should go and help us get them and get them their names and charge them to court. That's the work we want police to be doing. Not asking for name of people that are exercising their democratic rights. When people go out to vote, those police used to go and ask for the name of those that are going out to vote to write their name down.
I'm just short of words at this point, Mr. Rufai. There's so much going on, and adding or not necessarily torchlighting security is one of the aggravations of Nigerians at this point. Letting them know that, okay, you are safe, even in the midst of hunger, right? At least let's remove one. Let's remove one. It's like we're fighting so many battles at different ends and we're not winning in any. So it feels overwhelming at this point.
Don't be overwhelmed though, my dear. You have to face it. If you live in Nigeria, you have to develop what I call mental toughness. You have to face it. You have to have clear thinking and be critical. It shouldn't overwhelm you because the people that are trying to manipulate the situation, they are not overwhelmed. In fact, they are happy. They are excited. They are feeding fat off everything. So don't be overwhelmed though. Clear thinking. Focus. The first dance. You have been doing it.
All right, Mr. Rufai, still looking at this issue of hunger, Godwin Obaseki has urged the federal government to learn from Edo State's example through the success recorded in the Christian feeding program. The Edo governor, alongside leaders of the Christian Association of Nigeria, they flagged off a second phase of a CFP. They had 56,250 bags of 10 kg rice distributed across 3 senatorial districts to alleviate the sufferings of the people. This is what he said, and they kicked off that distribution in Edo South Senatorial District. I mean, seeing this and looking at another report, juxtaposing it with another report that I saw over the weekend, where I think it was in Nasarawa State or some northern state. Let me check to be sure. The bags of rice donated by federal government were being repackaged and sold to residents in Kogi State.
And that's the sad reality. So you see, that's why federal government should watch these things. I don't know. Even my friend Betty Edu was saying the other day when she was still minister, when she was suspended, that they will use GPS to go and put food in the house of people. They should use that GPS now through the mapping of addresses. Go to the homes of people and ensure that they put the food in their front, their doormat. Maybe that's what they do in other parts of the world. When they gave COVID palliative in the UK, when they gave grocery, they will just see the grocery in front of your house now. And you pack it and you use it to eat. So that's just it.
All right, Mr. Rufai, just before you go, Kenneth Okonkwo has he says he no longer has confidence in Peter Obi and his ability to lead the Labour Party, so he has left the Labour Party and left Peter
I
Obi.
believe that one is a politician, but when they were campaigning them, he had confidence in Peter Obi. If Peter Obi had won the election, he would have confidence in Peter Obi. But because he didn't win the election, now he's looking for where to jump to. Now he's now looking for Atamo by saying he couldn't solve the problem in the Labour Party. You see, those ones, they are political traders. We know a lot of them. It's where it's sweet they are looking for. So, so don't get too disgruntled about it. But when people like that show themselves, in fact, you should just be happy. Because you show what it's going to be. They are political traders. They have sweet mouths. But I used to tell those people, it's best they are political surrogates that they say, okay, I'm paid to do a service rather than, act like they have convictions and the next day they don't have convictions again. So, I mean, leave those ones alone. There are many, there are some too that left PDP and went to APC.
Yes.
You know them now. And today they are ranting fire and brimstone. Those ones, when they left the APC, then we know they were going to leave APC because they thought there was a DC of PDP. So, they will leave back. They are those ones are political jobber.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rufai, for your time. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Have a good day.
Yeah. Have a good one.
All right, to you listening, go ahead and let me know what you think about any of our headlines this morning. The number is 0808-312-8618. 0808-312-8618 is the number to call to be a part of this conversation as well. Don't forget to leave a comment on our YouTube, which is at Voice of the People Abuja. Leave a comment on YouTube, Voice of the People Abuja. Let's know what you're thinking about any of our headlines this morning. All right, give me a call back, 0808-312-8618. 0808-312-8618 is the number to call. Good morning.
Lady G. I surprise you with another line. I will not let my enemy know. I know who are after me. They are after me because of we are criticizing government since Muhammadu Buhari's time. The line has been barred yesterday, finally.
Wow.
Yes, yellow flag line, color line. Lady G, and Mr. Rufai, did you people notice something? I suspect the government is like they are the one who connect with this network provider. If you go to my Tama MTN office now, it's more than market. Everybody is running a computer. Maybe they want to use it because not to access them or
Adewumi, you are suspecting federal governments. Hello, Adewumi. Now, why they buy your line, BGs? 0808-312-8618 is the number to call to be a part of this conversation this morning. 0808-312-8618. You can also send a WhatsApp message to that number as well. Hello.
I get good phone now. I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello, G.
I can hear you.
Thank you. I have good phone. I don't know. Nothing is working. All this network of it is part of the problem. I link my all my SIM. I have all lines. I link all with my different.
All right. I think we'll wrap it up at this point. Let's wrap it up. Let's call it a wrap so I can take a break and then come back at 8 with Mr. Larry Oguego. We're looking at the state of the nation, looking at how things are from economy to security to food, agriculture, hunger in the country to this protest as well. Looking at every single thing happening in the country at the moment and looking at how we can handle it as a nation. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a moment. My name is Gesiri and this has been the Front Page Review. Coming up next